Nisha has Madam joined. Nisha has Madam joined.
Allah, she's joining now. She'll be joining soon, just within 2 minutes.
You can start.
Yeah. Maybe you can just.
If she's joining, let her join and I'll start.
That is great.
And when you kind of finish that, I mean, great finish, and you could see he's not 100% there, but go on, take it easy, you're not giving up and sorting that fast, keep up. Right finish into that ball out, you know, and it was just the icing on the cake, should I say.
Okay, then I will start the program. Good evening, everybody. Am I audible?
I think so. There's going to be quite a task on easy.
Am I audible?
Yes, madam.
Okay. So, good evening, members. Today, 31st January, is a double celebration. First, Pulse Polio Administration. Second, observing World Leprosy Day. Our medical community's energetic work against two dreadful diseases, polio and leprosy. I think they're doing a great work. The topic today is quiz for general practitioners and postgraduate students by our EB member, Dr. Nithya. And second is the topic of National Leprosy Eradication Program and leprosy status in Kerala. So I welcome first our state IAP President, Dr. Jairam, who will release a special leprosy awareness video in connection with the program and deliver the keynote address. The felicitation for today's session is by Dr. Anandakeshwan, National South Zone Vice President 2020, Dr. Mukesh, our State IAP Vice President, and our State IAP Secretary, Dr. Johnny Sebastian. A warm welcome to the leaders. A hearty welcome to our speaker, Dr. Zenia T. Nujum, who is Additional Professor of Community Medicine at Kollam Medical College. I welcome Dr. Nithya, IEB member, who's conducting the quiz. We are all excitedly waiting to answer your questions. A special welcome to Dr. Nisha, editor of IAP Today, who has helped us tremendously in executing the program. Welcome to Srijit, our secretary, who's a strong support right from the idea to reporting, from the beginning to the end. Welcome to our senior IAP members. I see Purushothaman sir, Santosh sir. Sir, we enjoyed hearing your Pulse Polio programs. It was very good. Dr. VK Parvati, Saroja madam, all senior IAP members, guests, and quiz participants. The theme this year is Beat Leprosy, Break Stigma, and Advocate Mental Well-Being. So I think we have already started in the right direction by holding such programs. So let us begin. So I invite Dr. Jairam, our state IAP president, to release the awareness video and deliver the keynote address.
Good evening. Hope I am audible. Respected President of Thrissur IAP, Dr. Rati, Secretary Dr. Srijit, Dr. Nisha, Dr. Narayanan, Dr. Johnny Sebastian, Dr. Bala, Dr. Parvati Madam, Purushothaman, Dr. Santosh Kumar, and all the other dignitaries and delegates. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to deliver this keynote address on this important occasion of World Leprosy Day. As Dr. Rati was telling, this year's theme of Leprosy Day is Beat Leprosy, End Stigma, and Advocate for Mental Well-Being. Actually, over the last 1 year, headlines were dominated by COVID-19 infection. And it is easy to overlook other diseases, especially a disease like leprosy, which is often regarded as a disease of the past. But leprosy requires attention, as about 2 lakh new persons are diagnosed. New diagnosis comes from leprosy every year in the world, and millions are living in some form of disability due to leprosy. But as all of you will admit, the diagnosis of leprosy will lead to some form of social exclusion, and patients with leprosy continue to face social discrimination, and there are even countries where leprosy is regarded as a reason for divorce, a ground for divorce as per law, and many of them restrict these patients from public life and social activity. So this is basically a disease as well as a big social problem, and women and children stand to suffer most with the social and economic impacts of this disease. Overcoming leprosy involves a prompt diagnosis, treatment, at the same time changing the mindset so that leprosy is no more a shame to tell. And it is regarded as like driving a motorcycle, where the front wheel is considered as the treatment, diagnosis and treatment, and the rear wheel is basically symbolizing the ending of discrimination towards leprosy. If you can move both wheels together, only we can aim at the world which is leprosy free world. And compared to many other infections, it affects less number of people, but it has got we all have a responsibility for building an inclusive world for these patients with leprosy, so that we can think of a leprosy free future in the near future. So with these few words, I'm going to the second job of assigned to me, that is releasing a educational video on awareness and different manifestations of leprosy, which is prepared by Dr. Nisha and Dr. Krishna Mohan, and I'm very happy to release it to on this occasion. Can I share my slide? Yes, can you do it for me?
Yes.
Yes, sir. This is a beautiful video which is prepared made to make an awareness on this disease.
Audio is not there.
So thank you, Dr. Nisha and Krishna Mohan, for this wonderful effort. And I declare this video as released on this day of the World Leprosy Day. Actually, this is the second video we are releasing this year. First one on pulse polio immunization, how to administer polio vaccine. And this is the second one. And I congratulate our IAP editor, Dr. Nisha and Krishna Mohan and Ranjit and their team on this effort. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you, Dr. Jairam. We shall try and play the video again at the end of the program. Before I go on to felicitation, I welcome our state leaders, our past IAP State President, Dr. Narayanan, and State Secretary, past IAP State Secretary, Dr. Balachandran. Now I invite Dr. Anandakeshwan, sir, for the felicitation. I invite Dr. Anandakeshwan, our National South Zone Vice President 2020, past President National Neurology Chapter and Professor at the Government Medical College Thrissur for the felicitation.
Very good evening, respected President Dr. Edhi Shandoma, today's chief guest, Jayarama sir, past state president Narayana, secretary Bala, HOD of pediatrics, Dr. Putranasman sir, Dr. Santosh sir, Dr. V.K. Parvati madam, and my friend Dr. Srijit, Dr. Mukesh, and all dear friends. Very happy to see that IAP Thrissur became very active this year. As last year also they are active, but this year from beginning itself they are taken much precaution because we had so many programs. Today morning we had a 2-3 program in connection with the pulse polio, and today this one. Next week we have World Cancer Day program, and Dr. Nisha, Dr. Reddy, Dr. CJ are doing a wonderful job. I would like to congratulate IAP Thrissur and also IAP Kerala as a whole for the wonderful act. Leprosy, I think the last 15 years I have not seen any case of leprosy. I think it is the experience of most of us also. Even though statistics are saying that in Kerala leprosy is increasing. Especially 8 districts, including Thrissur and Palakkad. The highest incidence of leprosy in Kerala is in Palakkad, followed by Malappuram, then Tirunelveli and Thrissur and Ernakulam. There is increase in the out of 140 cases of leprosy, 21 cases are in children. And it is a increasing in children when compared to other states. The rate of increase in children is high. What they are saying. So we have to be very careful because leprosy may be the commonest manifestation. But we used to say that the hypopigment patches in the on the face, but it may not be hypoanesthetic. There won't be any loss of touch sensation in children on indeterminate leprosy. When it is affecting the face, it will not be so anesthetic. Another thing is we will confuse the lesion with the PTS and some other lesion, so we may miss it also. So we should have a high index of suspicion, especially in this situation, there is increasing in the incidence of leprosy. Anyway, National Leprosy Strategy Program aiming zero leprosy by 2030. That's the aim of the National Leprosy Control Program. And the Ashwamedham program, I think Kerala government already announced, Sharia teacher announced the Ashwamedham program. First, it is a plan for 8 districts. Later, it is 14 districts. They are planning this one. I think with all these programs and awareness program like this one, we can definitely we can decrease this or we can come to the point that zero leprosy in Kerala, especially in children. Once again, I congratulate IAP Thrissur and also wish the program and also for the KISS program all success. Jai Hind, Jai IAP.
Thank you, Dr. Anandakeshan, for the encouraging words. I invite Dr. Mukesh, our Vice President, IAP State, for the felicitation.
Dignitaries on end of the dais, good evening to you all. I'm very glad that IAP has chosen such a relevant and an important topic. I'm sure all the pediatricians will be benefited from this CME on leprosy, and I wish all the success for this program. And over to President for the further proceedings. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mukesh. I invite Dr. Johnny, our State IAP Secretary, for the felicitation. Thank you, Dr. Johnny, for joining us in spite of your busy schedule today.
Respected President Dr. Reddy Madam, Secretary Dr. Srijit, IAP State President Dr. Jayaraman Sir, past National Vice President Dr. Anandakeshavan Sir, Purushothaman Sir, Mukesh Sir, Narayan Sir, Bala Sir, Dr. Nisha, senior colleagues and dear friends. I'm extremely happy to see this excellent video being released today, as well as the initiative taken by IAP Thrissur in organizing a quiz program today on this World Leprosy Day. In fact, Thrissur has been in the forefront of IAP activities this year. I wish this program all success. Jai Hind, Jai IAP. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Johnny Sebastian. Next, I invite Dr. Nitya for conducting the quiz.
A very good evening to one and all. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Thank you, ma'am. So I sincerely thank the respected office bearers of IAP Thrissur and the organizers of this event and Dr. Nishan and Indran for giving me this opportunity to present a quiz on a topic, as Santosh sir already told, which is very important, but probably one of the least read topics during our PG days, and probably one of the topic which is not commonly discussed these days among the practicing pediatricians. So though leprosy is as old as mankind, we are not used to diagnosing leprosy or treating it much, maybe past recent years. So this is actually a humble attempt to increase awareness and share some knowledge regarding leprosy among the practicing pediatricians and the pediatric postgraduates here through the medium of quiz. As we all know, it's easy to learn or grasp things when we learn it through a medium of question and answers. So that is what we are planning here. And quizzing is always fun, we know. We have included simple and common questions here. വളരെ കോംപ്ലിക്കേറ്റഡ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള ഹൈ 5 ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻസ് അല്ല, വെരി സിമ്പിൾ ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻസ്. ഇതുവരെ പഠിച്ചതും നമ്മൾ നേടിയതുമായിട്ടുള്ള അറിവിനെ ഒന്ന് പൊടി തട്ടിയെടുക്കാനുള്ള ഒരു ഹമ്പിൾ അറ്റംപ്റ്റ്, അത്രയേ ഉള്ളൂ. So I'll just share my screen.
Just a minute. Srijit, please YouTube stream. Srijit, could you please YouTube stream? Thank you.
Is the screen visible, ma'am?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Thank you. So moving on to the quiz, we won't waste much time. So we had around 15 teams registered, as mentioned in our brochure, in our flyer. We got 15 teams registered. So all these teams were requested to register to my mobile WhatsApp number, so that they can answer the questions directly to my WhatsApp. And other teams who are there who are not yet registered are also welcome. So whoever is there as participants for the quiz can quickly send their name, department, and institution to this WhatsApp number 7760012710. I hope it's clear. So those who have already registered, there are 15 teams already registered. Others who have not registered, who have just joined, who want to participate in the quiz can quickly register by sending your name, department, and institution to this number. So I'm happy to know to see the response that it's not just pediatric PGs and pediatricians who have registered. We have got registrations from community medicine and dermatology PGs as well. So as AK sir mentioned, maybe we are not seeing much. Maybe dermatology people are those who are seeing more of leprosy patients. So they are also interested in attending our quiz. That's a good news. And we'll just quickly go through the rules of the quiz. Those who have already registered, I've mentioned the rules through an audio clip. So we'll just quickly move through the rules of the quiz. There are 2 parts for the quiz. Part 1, we have 3 clusters of 5 questions each. And each question, you will get 10 seconds to answer. Each question will carry 2.5 points. There are no negative marks. So at the end of each cluster, that means 5 questions, we will go through the answers. So whenever I show one, the first say a question, you can send the answer immediately through to this WhatsApp number. So if I read out the question number 1, you just type 1 and type the answer and send it. And please do not send multiple answers for a single question. That is usually what happens, we see here. So do not send multiple answers. Most of them are very short answers because you have to type it in 10 seconds. So when the question is read out, you can type the answer immediately. Within 10 seconds, you can send it to the WhatsApp number. And please send it in the correct question number order, so that for us valuation will be easy. So don't miss question numbers. If you don't have any answer, just leave it blank, or you can just type pass, that's fine. So if you have answered question 1, question 2, question 3, and 4, question 4, you don't have any answer, you can just type question 4 pass, and then go to question 5. So at the end of every 5th question, so the first cluster will have 5 questions. At the end of that first cluster, we'll discuss the answers. I hope it's clear. So it will be good if participants can, one or two participants can respond. Are the rules clear? You can just type it in the chat box also. Nisha madam, can you help me to read the chat box?
Yeah, sure.
Messages?
Sure. Carry on. Carry on. Yes.
So if the rules are clear, you can just type it in the chat box that the rules are clear. Any doubts?
Yes. No, you would have explained, no? You can go on.
Yeah, okay. And part 2, we have a jackpot round, which I'll be announcing the rules later, where the first 3 winners or the 3 top scorers will be selected from the initial round. And to the audience, please mute yourself. And since we should not lose the fun of the quiz, so please don't type the answers in the chat box till the participants answer. When we have enough more audience questions as well, so you'll also be you'll also get a chance to answer. And as in any other quiz, here also Quizmaster's decision is final. Okay, so we'll move on to the quiz. Let's begin. All the best. Are the audience, are the participants ready? I hope you people are ready. So you can just keep your WhatsApp open and keep the answering page ready. So we'll move on to the first question. The common age group of pediatric leprosy is, the time starts now, 10 seconds. Time up. Second question. Foamy macrophages stuffed with abundant mycobacilli seen in the histopathology of lepromatous leprosy are called dash. Time starts now. Foamy macrophages stuffed with abundant Mycobacterium leprae seen in histopathology of lepromatous leprosy are called dash. Time up. Question number 3. Name the 2 countries in the world with greatest number of leprosy cases. 10 seconds. 2 countries in the world with greatest number of leprosy cases. Time up. Question number 4. This is a multiple choice question. So please note that we have quite a few multiple choice questions here. They may or may not have more than one answer. So you have to read through the question carefully. The question number 4 is, Mycobacterium leprae is an extracellular non-pleomorphic bacterium, intracellular obligate pleomorphic bacterium, extracellular pleomorphic bacterium, and intracellular non-pleomorphic bacterium. You just write the number A, B, write the alphabet A, B, C, or D. Time up. Question number 5. Identify this logo. I think this is a simple one. Identify this logo. Time. Okay, time up. So I think all the participants have sent the answers to my number, and the time now in my mobile is 7:27 p.m. So I think you can stop answering the first 5 questions now. So any question, any answer for the first cluster after 7:28, I will not be taking it. Okay, your time is up. So we'll just quickly go through the answers of the first cluster of questions. So no more answers for the first cluster after, I mean, your time is up.
20.
So, okay. So the common age group of pediatric leprosy, can anybody type in the chat box fast? As per standard textbook, it is 10 to 14 years. So leprosy shows
10 to
typically a
12 years by Dr. Monica.
Okay, okay. So it's given as 10 to 14 years. Leprosy typically shows a bimodal distribution. So the first peak will be in 10 to 14 years and the second peak in 35 to 45 years. Okay. So the second question, this is a simple one. Foamy macrophages stuffed with abundant Mycobacterium leprae are called? Anybody has typed the answers, ma'am?
No, not yet.
So we won't waste our time because we have an informative talk ahead. So they are called virtual cells or lepra cells. So they are the undifferentiated macrophages, which is seen in lepromatous spectrum of leprosy, where they are thickly packed or studded with Mycobacterium leprae bacilli in the form of globi. Okay. So they are called virtual cells. And the third question, 2 countries with greatest number of leprosy. This is as per the WHO recent statistics: India, Brazil, and Indonesia. These are the 3 countries topping the list, and the 2 countries should be India and Brazil. Okay, so we'll move on to the 4th question. Mycobacterium leprae is an intracellular obligate pleomorphic bacterium. So it's intracellular bacterium. Done. And identify this logo. Anybody? Any guess? Since it's it's Leprosy Day. Undo, madam.
Monica says NLEP.
Okay, correct. So it is NLEP, National Leprosy Eradication Program, and the logo symbolizes the beauty and purity of lotus. So it is actually a partially affected thumb and the forefinger in the form of a house. And here the rising sun shows a symbol of hope and optimism, and in the lotus showing beauty and purity. So the emblem shows the spirit of hope and positive action in the eradication of leprosy. So that is regarding NLEP. I'm sure that our speaker will be detailing about NLEP more. Okay. So we'll move on to the audience question. It's a break for our participants. So this is the audience question. When is Leprosy Day observed in India? It's probably the easiest question I can ask today. When is Leprosy Day observed in India, and why was this day chosen? Can anybody type the answer?
Purushothaman sir answers Jan 30th. Reason not written. Gandhi Jayanti. Gandhi Jayanti written.
Gandhi Jayanti alla.
Not Jayanti.
Speedy type.
Shariana, sir. So
Yeah.
It is the death anniversary of DFS.
Yeah, many people are typing Rati ma'am. Yeah.
Very good. So everybody knows. Right. So in India, it is observed on January 30th. It was established by French philanthropist Raoul Fleury in memory of Gandhiji, because we all know he has spent a lot of time with patients affected with leprosy. So moving on to the next one. So chocolates for whoever has written the answer: Purushothaman sir, Reke sir, and Ridman. And we'll move on to the next round quickly. Are the participants ready?
Caterpillar.
Ready now? Okay. So this is 6th question. Question number 6. Erythema, induration, tenderness, and scaling of existing lesions in Hansen's disease within 6 months of treatment indicate dash. Time starts now. Please note the question number. It is 6. Erythema, induration, tenderness, and scaling of existing lesions in Hansen's within 6 months of treatment. Time up. Which is the first sensation lost in leprosy? Time. Time up. What is the index of solid staining bacilli indicating viability in a slit skin smear called? The index of solid staining bacilli indicating viability in a slit skin smear is called dash. Time up. Question number 9. This is again an MCQ. The risk factors for lag of thalamus in patients with Hansen disease include all except A, skin patch over the zygomatic area, B, lepromatous leprosy, recent commencement of multi-drug regime, and borderline leprosy. The risk factors include all except which one? Time. You can write A, B, C, or D. Just put the question number and write the answer. Okay, time up. The question number 10. There are 2 personalities. Can you identify these personalities? Just write the name. There will be 2 answers. So first who, second one who. Just write the name. Time up. So that finishes question number 10. So the second cluster is over. I hope all of you have sent the answers for the second cluster, and it's 7:33 now. So no more answers are permitted. So any answer after 7:33, I won't be taking it. So we'll move on to the answers quickly. Erythema, induration, tenderness, and scaling indicate in a patient with Hansen on treatment indicate. Madam?
Monica says reversal reaction.
That's right. That indicates lepra reaction type 1 or reversal reaction. And as we know, it's a type 4 hypersensitivity reaction and treatment and steroids. Type 2 is actually ENLs and as you all know, its treatment is thalidomide. I think these all will be discussed in detail during our session. So we'll move on to the next question. The first sensation lost. Answer undo, madam.
Answer temperature, Monica.
That's right. So that is the first sensation lost. It's temperature. And
Anaga says cold.
Oh, okay. And the index of solid staining bacilli is called, as we all know, it is morphological index.
Yes, Monica says morphological.
Okay, so that indicates the viability of bacilli. And when it's fragmented or granular, it is non-viable bacilli. Correct. The risk factor for lagophthalmos include all except lepromatous. So lagophthalmos is more common in borderline leprosy. And again, other factors like skin patch over the face and recent commencement of treatment increases the risk for lagophthalmos. Personalities. First photos, as we all know, Baba Amte, the Indian social worker and social activist for whose work for
Karthika
leprosy.
gets it right along with Monica.
Oh, good. And the second photo is Gerard Fisher.
Yeah.
Okay, so that finishes our second cluster, and this is a question for audience. It's also an easy one. Can you identify the personality?
No one yeah. Rati ma'am answers Dr. Hansen.
Hansen alla ma'am.
Father Damien. That's from Archana. Yeah. Jaram sir also answers Father Damien. Correct.
Father Damien, priest from Belgium who devoted his
Parvati
life
ma'am
for,
also answers.
Okay, correct ma'am. So we have chocolates for Parvati madam and Archana. And so that finishes our second cluster. We will move on to the third round. Are the participants ready? Okay, I hope you people are ready. So the first question, round 3, question number 11 is, PGL1 has been widely studied for its diagnostic potential as a marker in leprosy. What is PGL1? A simple one. PGL1, what is it? Time up. Question number 12. Please note question number 12. ANCDR is an NLEP indicator. There are two parts for the question. What is ANCDR? And the second part is, what is the current ANCDR in India? Time starts now. Time up. We'll move on to the 13th question. This girl complains of hyperpigmentation of the lesions while on MDT. There is no erythema, induration, or pain. What could be the probable cause? Time starts now. This girl complains of hyperpigmentation of lesions on MDT. No erythema, induration, or pain. What could be the probable cause? Question number 13. Time up. We'll move on to question number 14. This is an MCQ again. Antibiotics which do not have anti-leprae effect are clarithromycin, penicillin, ofloxacin, minocycline, and cephalexin. Time starts now. Antibiotics which do not have anti-leprae effect. Clarithromycin, penicillin, ofloxacin, minocycline, and cephalexin. Time up. 15th question, identify this animal. And you should write how is it related to leprosy. Time starts now. 15th question, the last question of the set. Identify the animal and should tell how is it related to leprosy. Time up. So it's 7:39 in my mobile, and I think all of you have sent the answers now. Okay, so any answer after 7:40 I will not be taking. So we'll quickly move on to the answers for the third cluster. So PGL1 is, as we know, it is phenolic glycolipid 1, which is actually upcoming marker for leprosy, which is a specific cell wall component of Mycobacterium leprae. And ANCDR is annual new case detection rate. The current ANCDR is around 9.27, where the prevalence rate is less than 1, 0.67 in 10,000. So ANCDR is represented as per 1 lakh population, it's 9.27 per 1 lakh. 13th question, hyperpigmentation of lesions on MDT, what could be the cause? Madam, any answers for that? Madam, please unmute.
Purushothaman sir says clofazimine.
That's right.
And Monica also says clofazimine reaction side effect. Maybe he meant that only. Sir
Okay.
also meant that.
So that is right. Exactly. So that is hyperpigmentation secondary to clofazimine. Correct. And antibiotics which do not have anti-lepra effect, as we know, it is penicillin and cephalosporin. So there are two answers. And
Purushothaman sir gets it right.
Okay. And what is this?
Mukesh sir gets armadillo right first. Purushothaman sir too.
Okay, so that's a 9 branded armadillo, and it is probably
Monica
the
says
only
5 padded armadillo.
zoonotic reservoir. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's probably the only well-known zoonotic reservoir for leprosy, and since it's being infected with leprosy, it has been a main source of biochemical and immunological research. So that is a 9 branded armadillo. So that we have an audience question here. Can you identify this movie? And you should also tell me why this movie was recently in news. The name of this movie was
Purushothaman sir got it right.
Obviously.
Only the name he told.
I think.
Name of the program, the server.
Okay.
Yeah.
The movie.
Anaga also says. Yeah. Name of the program.
Junior pediatricians are getting madam. Obviously senior.
Anaga, yeah, Anaga. Differentiate Then we are going to mix up everyone. This is not a national quiz. We'll see where the juniors are coming up, no? So Purushothaman sir got Ashwamedham first. Anaga Vijayan got it right too. Second item. Parvati ma'am also gets it right. Okay.
Okay. So it's not movie Ashwamedham, 1962 movie. We all know it. Tried to break the taboo associated with leprosy. And the program is again Ashwamedham, as we had mentioned in the introduction talk. So Ashwamedham phase 3 is coming up, we all know. It's again case detection campaign for leprosy. And now
Srijit says it was a KPSC drama. Okay, fine. That's okay. Right. Yeah.
So chocolates for everyone. So with that, we have come to the end of part 1, and during our important next session, we will be evaluating the answers, and then we will pick the 3 toppers from here, from the set. And these 3 toppers will move on to the second round, which is actually jackpot round, and the rules of second round we'll be discussing after our talk. So we won't waste time. We will quickly move on to the talk by our by the guest speaker today. Over to Reddy madam. Thank you, ma'am.
Wait for the jackpot round, please.
Yeah, please wait for the jackpot round. I think we will get so many surprises there.
Yeah.
So we go on to the next. We go on to the next program, and I am privileged to introduce the speaker for the day, Dr. Xenia T. Nujum, and the topic is National Leprosy Eradication Program and the status of pediatric leprosy in Kerala. Dr. Xenia T. Nujum works as an additional professor at the Community Medicine Department, Government Medical College, Kollam, Kerala. She has been a medical teacher for the last 16 years. After post-graduation in community medicine, she has secured MPhil in clinical epidemiology in 2008 and later on got her PhD from University of Kerala in 2020. She's a recipient of the postgraduate training grants in implementing research 2014 from the World Health Organization Special Program for Research and Training in Tropical Disease for her PhD. She's also got a master's degrees in clinical nutrition and dietetics. She's an approved PhD research guide in the Faculty of Medicine in the Kerala University of Health Science, and currently 8 PhD scholars have registered under her supervision. She is also a member of the Doctoral Advisory Committee of 3 PhD students at Achyuta Menon Center for Health Science Studies at Sri Chitra Tirunal Institute of Medical Science and Technology, Trivandrum. She is a regular faculty in research methodology workshop for postgraduate teachers in medical and dental colleges of Kerala. She is a faculty of the Clinical Epidemiology Research and Training Center at Medical College at Trivandrum since 2009, and currently she is the nodal officer of the National Tuberculosis Elimination Program of the institution. Having completed the advanced course in medical education from the MCI Nodal Center for Faculty Development at Government Medical College, Kottayam, she works as the medical education coordinator of the college. She has 46 publications to her credit and is a reviewer of several national and international journals. Her area of research specialization is tropical infectious disease, dengue, and tuberculosis in particular. She is in charge of the regional prevention of epidemic and infectious disease cells. She is a member of the State Sentinel Surveillance Team for HIV and is a member of the Effective Vaccine Management Assessment Team for the state of Kerala. She has authored 2 chapters in a leading textbook of community medicine in India and has received a Special Appreciation Award for research in dengue from IMA Kerala State at the annual conference in 2019. Madam, we are very privileged that you are going to address us in our Thrissur IAP group today. Over to you, to Dr. Zenia T. Nozum.
Thank you. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, madam?
Yes, yes,
Sure.
madam.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Reddy madam, for that very elaborate introduction. Respected madam, President of IAP Thrissur, Dr. Srijit, Secretary IAP Thrissur, my dear friend Dr. Nisha, President of IAP Kerala, Dr. Jayaraman, Dr. Ananda Keshavan sir, Mukesh sir, Purushothaman sir, all senior leaders of IAP, and I understand there are some postgraduate students from the Department of Pediatrics, Dermatology, and Community Medicine. I hope I'm right. Before starting my presentation, I'd like to say 3 things. The first is that a huge round of applause for IAP Thrissur for conducting a program related to leprosy on this day, especially amidst the polio activities, and also in the midst of the COVID. In spite of all your being very busy, actually leprosy is one among the neglected tropical diseases, and it's not only here but throughout the world, just one disease which has been neglected. And taking it to the priority by IAP Thrissur, I'm extremely happy, and I congratulate all the leaders of the IAP Thrissur. Second is that I am only one among you. It's that madam has read out a lot of things, but I'm not an expert in leprosy. It's only because my friend Nisha asked me to speak on the topic that I took it up. So I'm just trying to share some of the things I've collected and setting the stage for some discussion that amongst ourselves. And I think that there are very senior persons amongst us who have real experience diagnosing and treating leprosy, because we have not seen many cases at an undergraduate level and postgraduate level. So I request anybody to plunge in at any point of time, especially our senior leaders and senior faculty members. You can point out any mistakes and we will have a discussion. So can I move to the presentation? Shall I share the screen?
Yes,
Yes,
madam.
madam. Yes, madam.
Slideshow.
Is it slideshow? Kampashi, I think in between I will come to this view because when I don't see people, I don't feel like talking. So I think in between I'll come back to the screen. Okay.
Okay.
So
Okay.
The topic is NLEP and child leprosy status in Kerala. So acknowledgements once again to my dear friend Nisha, and I don't need. There's no need for me to introduce her. Then I thank Dr. Vidya K.R., who's the Deputy Director of Public Health and the State Leprosy Officer, from whom I have taken some information regarding the state statistics, and my student, Dr. Lakshmi, who also has assisted me in collecting some information. The overview that what we will be discussing today is first a little bit of introduction, and then a burden globally, India and in Kerala. And in that, I will try to give you as much as possible what is the status of pediatric leprosy in Kerala. Then the strategies that are there globally in India and in Kerala, and a little bit about primary prevention of leprosy, some of the things that are coming up. Maybe I'm not sure what is the extent of knowledge in the group. So I've just put some things. It may not be new to you. If it's new, we can discuss. Otherwise, we can just skip. And last but not the least, we will discuss some of the challenges and way forward, and some of the research areas that our postgraduate students can take up, probably because leprosy is not that common. You may not get many cases, but still there are some opportunities in research. So this is I'll start because the theme that you have put up is Beat Leprosy, End Stigma, and Advocate for Mental Health. So I think Purushottam sir or is it Ananthakeshan sir had answered the question by Jan 30th. And I will again take up with a big salute. I'll start with a big salute to our father of the nation, Mahatma Gandhi. And can anyone say what is the picture that you see on the slide? If the Nitya, you have prepared for the quiz, so you should be able to answer. Can you say, or did you see this picture? Oh, okay, you're busy. Oh, is there any other one anybody else who's willing to answer? She's come up.
Yes, ma'am.
You have done your quiz so this you
I don't know.
be able to just try.
His name starts with P. Parthiv. So Gandhiji.
Very good, very good. Shastri. This is the supposed to be the picture from Ervada prison. When Gandhiji was in prison, this Sanskrit scholar by the name of Shastri, he was also in prison. But at that time, we had an act in India which said that people with leprosy had to be segregated. So he was put in another cell. So Gandhiji used to communicate to him through letters. And once he came out of the prison, he requested Gandhiji that he wanted to come and stay with him in the ashram. So initially Gandhiji was skeptical, but then he wanted to end the stigma and discrimination against leprosy. And therefore he tried to convince the other people in the ashram, and he was able to convince them. He brought him and made him stay there in the ashram. So what bigger experience or what bigger thing can we expect from our father of the nation? So saluting him, I go on to the presentation. So first of all, I'll be talking about some of the indicators that we use in the National Leprosy Eradication Program. Broadly, we can divide them into 3 indicators. One is the essential indicators, the second is additional epidemiological indicators, and indicators measuring the quality of services. I'm not going to mention all of them, but only a few of them. The first, you are seeing some of the indicators that are used in leprosy, and I think some of the questions that Nitya had asked were pertaining to these indicators. The first is the prevalence per 10,000 population. So this is the indicator that we use to say whether a place is eliminated of leprosy. And when do we say that a place or an area is eliminated is when the prevalence rate is less than 1 per 10,000. So globally, we achieved this status in 2000 itself, and in India, we achieved this status in 2005. So this is one important indicator, the prevalence rate. But because this prevalence rate is coming down, actually more than that, this annual new case detection rate, there was a question in the quiz on annual new case detection rate. So this is per 10,000. So add 10 to that, to this indicator, this we usually say per lakh population. And the next one is the rate of new cases with grade 2 disabilities. And that is per, what is that? That is per 10 lakhs. So with 10,000, 1 lakh and 10 lakh. Adding 110, or you can say per million. Per is same as the 10 lakhs. So, okay, so for that, we want to reduce the new rate of new cases with grade 2 disabilities to less than 1 million by 2020. That is the goal. Okay, so all this prevalence rate gives us the burden. The annual new case detection rate is also an indicator of new cases. That means there is transmission occurring in new cases coming up. It also indicates that we are working and we are finding new cases. So sometimes you will see that when we have campaigns coming up, the detection rate goes up. The third one is showing us how early are we actually detecting the case. So if we have more of grade 2 disabilities, it means that there is a delay in the diagnosis. And therefore, this is a very important indicator. And then the proportion of grade 2 disabilities, this is the rate and this is the proportion. Okay, so proportion of grade 2 is expressed as a percentage. So that is the difference. There are other essential indicators as well. For example, the treatment completion rate. So these are some of the essential indicators. And these are the indicators which are like proportion of multibacillary cases among new cases. So what is the importance is that we all know that multibacillary cases are more infectious. And then, so we will get, if there are more multibacillary cases, that means the chance of spread is high. Then the proportion of females, as we already said, sir, I think one sir, I think it's Jayaraman sir who said that the social implications when a woman is affected or when a child is affected is high. And so we need to know the proportion of females among the new cases. We also need to know the proportion of children. Child indicators are put separately. So these are some of the additional epidemiological indicators. I also said a third type of indicator which reflects the quality of service that is provided. The one is number of reliable services is low. For example, if you're there is a treatment failure that implies a treatment failure, that means our service is low. We have not given the right regimen, or we have not been able to convince the patient to take the drugs properly or comply with the regimen. So that indicates a poor quality of service. So the number of relapse reported, then the proportion of cases who develop new or additional disability after starting MDT. So even after your treatment, they are going in for a disability. That again indicates the quality of service. So in short, these are some of the indicators broadly classified into three. One is the essential indicators. Second is the epidemiological indicators, and the third one is that which reflects on the quality of service. So these are those indicators that are related to the past in medical indicators. One portion of child among new cases. So because this is a pediatric group, I just put the how to it. I think all of you must be knowing the number of child leprosy cases detected by since a proportion is expressed as a percentage out of the newly detected cases, and child rate per 1 lakh population. So that the denominator, you're talking in terms of actually this, if you think of the real rate. You can't really call it as a rate, but this is how it is put it in the program. The child rate per 1 lakh population. That is the number of new child cases, again 0 to 14 years. There was a question which is the most common group affected, that was said 10 to 14 years. So this is the under 15-year age group, or 0 to 14 years is the new child cases detected in a year, divided by the population of the area as on 31st March in 1 lakh. So also we have number of new child with grade 2 disability. So with regard to children, these are the three indicators: proportion of children among the new case, that is a proportion, then the rate per 1 lakh cases, and also number of new child cases with disability. So these are the three most commonly used indicators with regard to children. So while we are the relevance of epidemiological relevance of leprosy in children. See, in endemic cases, the children are the ones who are most affected they are at a very early age. Mostly, if a child is affected, that means there are adults who have not been diagnosed or they have not been treated. We know that once we start
You're not audible, Senior.
Senior, you may mute your video. Stop your video.
Switch off the
audio
video.
will be clear.
Yeah.
Anna.
Now it's
എവിടെ വരെ കേട്ട്?
മുഴുവൻ കേട്ടോ, ജസ്റ്റ് ബ്രേക്ക് ആയപ്പോഴേ മുഴുവൻ കേട്ടു, ജസ്റ്റ് ബ്രേക്ക് ആകാൻ തുടങ്ങിയപ്പോഴേ.
ശരി നിഷ, താങ്ക് യു. അപ്പൊ നമുക്കത് so that means that there are some adults who have not been diagnosed, and therefore it is it's an indicator of active and recent transmission. And again, nerve damage can easily cause disability in children. Again, there is some people say that if you know the prevalence of leprosy in school children, 6 to 14 years of age, roughly you can multiply it by 4 and get the prevalence of in the total population. So, and it is easier to do a survey in the school children. But the value of that is low if the school enrollment is less than 70%. And also, this reflects a failure of the system. Like, you're not able to detect cases and treat cases. That is why children are getting the disease. So this is the relevance of leprosy in children. And then, but let's go now to the global burden. Global burden, 85% of the global burden rests in 7 countries of the world, which are listed below: India, Brazil, Indonesia, Bangladesh, Democratic Republic of Congo, Nepal, and Ethiopia. And in the quiz, there was one question. 2 countries that contributed maximum to the burden is India and Brazil, as you know. So 60% of the burden is contributed. Out of the 60% is contributed by India alone. So we have a major role to play in the eradication of leprosy from the entire world. So you have to work hard. Then at 71% of the burden, if you take 2 countries together, is India and Indonesia. So you may think, why you're not telling Brazil? So why? Because India, Indonesia, Southeast Asian regions, and Southeast Asian regions contribute to the maximum burden. I think there's a slide here that says the regions across the world, and you can see that this blue, light blue you see is the region that contributes to the most, Southeast Asia region. Okay, so you can compare the colors that are given below, and you can see the Southeast Asia region is the maximum contributor. Across the years, we see that there's a declining trend in the number of new cases, and the new cases per 1 lakh, all that is declining. But still, that someone sir in the beginning said that we are having around 2 lakh cases still in the globe. So this picture I just put to show that Southeast Asia regions contribute to the maximum burden. Now, when you come to India, again, there's a declining trend in the leprosy. So what we see is in 1931, where prevalence rate was 57. From there, this is of 2011. I put this slide because this is showing all together in one picture. You know that we have gone below this prevalence, not very much below, but around 0.6 or something per 10,000. But then we have come to the elimination status of than from above 50 per 10,000, we have come to less than 1 per 10,000. And you can see that the most of the country is in red, in that is having more than 10 per 10,000. But gradually that red has vanished and now they are all green. But still we have two states in India that is in a light green picture, green color here, that is between 1.1 and 2, which means less than, it is not less than 1 per 10,000. Can you name the states, any one of you, with the location? If I keep telling, everybody will sleep off at this late hour of the night. Anybody else? Okay, I'll say that is just to bring in some thought with you. So I think it's Bihar and Chhattisgarh, those two states. But then after that, again, some states also are coming up again with an increased prevalence rate. This is the annual new case detection per 1 lakh population. And you can see that there are many states which are again having above 50 per 1 lakh population. That is the annual new case detection rate. This is the grade 2 disability, which we don't want, because we want the cases to be detected early. And then again, you have the grade 2 proportion of grade 2 disability 10. They have detected 100 people. There are some states where 10% are detected at the stage of grade 2 disability. And I hope all of you are aware, know what is grade 2 disability. Yes, that's about India. Just a small comparison between the world and India. It may not be very correct, but then it is what could be obtained. So if you look at the world, the prevalence rate is 10,000, 0.25, 0.66 in India. Annual new case detection rate is 2.77, and Nitya said in India is 9.27. The proportion of multibacillary cases, 50%. Proportion of child cases looks similar when compared to the world, 8.5 and 8.7%. Grade 2 disability per million is around 4%. And proportion of females is actually, females are get less affected less than compared to the males, and we think because the males are going out more and things like that. So, but when we look at this slide, we may think we are comparable to the world, like the proportion of child cases in India around 9%. But if we look at this slide, we can find that although the overall is 9%, there are it is more than 10% of new case detected in 11 states in India, and 6 of them are they have got high rates of percentage child cases, that is as high as 14 to 23. So that is the problem. So there's uneven, and it is the problem with leprosy. Even though we know that there are overall we are in the elimination status, we do have districts in the several parts of India. We do have blocks in India. Sometimes the district itself has a prevalence rate of less than 1, but then within the districts there are blocks which have got a prevalence rate of more than 1 per 10,000. So that is the importance of focusing on districts and focusing on blocks, focusing on those states. So based on the risk, we may have to act. And again, the problems is that why do we have this much of child cases? Because of the high proportion of multibacillary. And then in these areas, I'm talking about these areas with high rates, they have a high proportion of multibacillary cases which are infectious. And then these are some difficult to reach areas like the northeastern parts of India. So now we come to Kerala. This is the map of Kerala which I could get, and this is whatever you see in red. Somebody was some sir was talking in the beginning that which district has got the maximum number of cases. Sir said it is Palakkad. Okay, so all those districts are in red here, and those districts which have got less of cases are given in yellow, but within that yellow we have some blocks or some of the areas which have got, like, which is put in red, in black, even within the district which have got less of cases, which have got more prevalence. So if we go to I think we can look at this slide and get a more idea on that. So this prevalence rate has been computed for 2019-20. For 2021, it is not complete, because the period they take disease is April to March. So we don't have the complete figures for April. So for 2021. So we look at 2019-20. So you can just see total new cases is highest in Palan, 188 out of 675. The second, that is the IAP Thrissur. Second district which has got the maximum number of cases is Thrissur, followed by Trivandrum and Kozhikode, and then by Trivandrum. So these are the districts which report the total. But let us see, our interest would be the pediatric cases, and that again is highest in Palakkad, followed by Malappuram, and then we have 6 cases, that is in Kannur. Is it the same in 2020-21 up to now again? But where we had 675 cases totally in 1920, we now have only 194 cases. So the reduction in cases, the number of cases have come down. But we can't say that until we are in March. So, but one thing to note is that this district of Idukki has got a total number of cases 0. So there is no case in Idukki. Similar situation we have for tuberculosis, like Idukki is one district which we have less number of tuberculosis as well, and we are trying to eliminate tuberculosis as a whole. We are trying to eliminate in Kerala, but then this Idukki, there's no, in 2021 we don't have any cases, and it is we must be happy that we have many other districts in Kerala who have 20 where there are no cases of leprosy. We are happy, but we must also be looking into whether we are not detecting these cases. That also must be looking into. So the percentage of child cases in 2019-20 was 7.7, and but till now that has reduced to almost half. That is roughly 8%. It has come down to 4% in 2021. So is there any effect of COVID and all that we need to look into? So the child cases, that is here, I just put all those, that it is not to be put in red actually, but then to see it properly, I put in red. Actually, they are green ones. Those district, Kollam, Alappuzha, Pathanamthitta, Idukki, then Palakkad. That is something which we should note. Like Palakkad is, we said, is one district that we have maximum cases, but child decay in 2020 till December, there are no cases. Again, that is why I said we don't know really whether this is because of the case detection gone down, or we don't know whether efforts have gone down because of COVID. But anyway, we have 0 cases here. In some other districts, Kozhikode, Wayanad, Kannur, and Kasaragod. So 9 out of the 14 districts that is on put in red have got 0 cases in. Thrissur unfortunately has 1 case. Okay, so this is the total number of cases in all these years. That has 17-18 is 520, 18-19 705, 19-20 it is 675. Anyway, all these 3 years it was above 500. But this year up to now, I hope in the next 3 months we are not going to reach anywhere till 500 anyway. So this year we have less of cases, 170. So this I just put it there, the 1920, the child cases percentage wise, because we were talking about child cases to be 4 per each district they have just computed. But then because the numbers are very small, there's not much meaning in looking into all these things. This is the child cases percentage trend. So from 8%, now we stand at 4% over a 5-6 years period. And here we can see 17, 18, I think there is a slight increase, maybe because it is in 18, that beginning of 18, 19, that time that we really started with the focused leprosy campaigns for the detection of leprosy. Could be that, but I'm not sure. But then from 2015, where we had roughly 9, we have come halfway through. So child cases per million, that is, I got it for only 3 years, 18, 19, 19, 20, and 2021. So that child cases per million, You see, the sustainable development goals are there for the world. We in Kerala, actually, I think it was at the time of Rajiv Sadanand sir, actually was very interested that Kerala should have made specific SDG objectives. And so it was made for leprosy also. And one of it was to reduce the child cases from 1.17 per million to less than 0.6 per million. And if you look into this figure, if this reporting is correct, then the child cases per million has come down to what we wanted, to less than 0.6 per million. Now it is 0.21 per million. So earlier what we said was the proportion of child cases. This is the second indicator that we say, the child cases per million, or the rate of child cases. And then the prevalence, but this is in general, so I think I will just go through fast. That is the prevalence per 10,000. That is, again, we are at 0.1 now. So the SDG goal for the objective for Kerala, we put it as less than 0.1, and then we are around that figure. The grade 2 deformities, that is per million, it is around 0.5 now. And our goal was to bring it down from 1.2 to less than 1 per million. And if again we are right, we have less than 1 per million now. So regarding all those things, so far we were discussing what we discussed first, a little bit of introduction, and then we went to look at the burden of the disease globally in India and in Kerala, and we looked at some of the child indicators, the proportion of cases, and the rate of child cases per million. And we found that the SDG goals that we had set for Kerala, we are somewhere around achieving, if the reporting and the other things are right. Now, now we move on to some of these strategies. What are the strategies globally? The global strategy for leprosy that what we have now is the global leprosy strategy, which was put forward in 2016 to 2020, accelerating progress towards a leprosy-free world. So we want to eradicate leprosy, not just eliminate leprosy. And even though India has eliminated leprosy, India is not yet free of leprosy. And there are 3 pillars on which the strategy thrusts. The first one is to stop leprosy and its complications. That is where we are bothered about the deformity, grade 2 deformities. The second is strengthening the government commitment. Of course, we do have that very much in Kerala, and our state minister, health minister, is very much for it. There's a lot of political commitment for the reducing the leprosy burden in the state. And the third is stop discrimination and promote inclusion. That is where the theme of today's presentation, or theme of today's the IAP lies. So these are the 3 pillars: stop leprosy and its complication, strengthen government commitment, and stop discrimination, promote inclusion. So the targets they fix, that is the rate of newly diagnosed cases with visible deformities. That is what we said initially when we said about the indicators, the deformity that has to be less than 1 per million. And grade 2 deformities among children, we want it to be 0. We don't want any child with a grade 2 disability. And the number of countries with discriminatory laws, we should not have even one country with a discriminatory law. So that is one target for the stop discrimination. Then one target for the leprosy complications. I think there are 2 which are related to the disability. That is one among the whole population, and the other is among children. So the global vision is 0 disease, so stop leprosy, 0 transmission of leprosy infection, that is stop transmission of leprosy, 0 disability, that is we do not want complications of leprosy. So we the target that with the grade 2 disability and disability among children, 0 stigma and discrimination, that is the global vision. So the Indian strategies, of course, these are age-old strategies, the case detection and management, all of you know. Disability prevention and medical rehabilitation is written most documents as DPMR, disability prevention and medical rehabilitation. Then the IEC, awareness care, that is where the relevance of the video that Nisha and I forget the name of the other person who has helped. the information education communication, and BCC behavioral change communication, human resource and capacity building, because we now know that we are not relying mostly on the lab diagnosis. We have made it more of clinical diagnosis, so which we can train our healthcare workers, we can train our ASHA workers to come up with the suspect case, or who are having, whom we should look into further. So this all requires the capacity building. Then program management, special activity in high endemic districts. As I said earlier, although we know more that at the national level or the subnational level also sometimes we might have elimination status, but there are still districts which report high annual new case detection rate and which have not reached the elimination status. So this again is we have 209 districts that have reported ANCDR more than 10 per lakh population. Those districts which should be the focus of our activities. Then some of the new initiatives, I'll not talk much of those, the mathematical modeling, evidence-based innovation, research study today. Know the effectiveness of post-exposure prophylaxis for leprosy. That is, among contacts of leprosy, if we give prophylaxis, will that reduce the cases, the number of cases? Strengthening surveillance and drug resistance monitoring in leprosy. And the mainstay is not much of a problem as we have in tuberculosis, but still there are resistance to the first line drugs. So that we need to be on the lookout for, because when we get relapse and such cases, we need to be looking to that. Mainstreaming of leprosy colonies and ASHA-based surveillance for leprosy status. ASHA-based surveillance for urban leprosy status. Indian strategies, way back we started in 1955, we had an NLEP started in 1983. All the time we were focusing on secondary and tertiary prevention, and that is actually the mainstay of the prevention and control activities. But now some thought is going into primary prevention as well. Not that we are not having primary prevention strategies. Of course, IEC, educating the people, was one of the important primary prevention strategies, but then that is more of generic. But we didn't focus much on specific protective measures like chemoprophylaxis and vaccine, about which I think I will tell in the last part of the presentation. Kerala strategies are the same as that we have in the at the national level, but plus we have this program name and as Ashwamedha, that is for the leprosy case detection. Now we are in phase 3. So 18-19 it was phase 1, 19-20 phase 2, and now 2021 it is phase 3. So we have, these are campaigns for a short period of time. Now this campaign is from January 30th to February 12th, almost 2 weeks time. And along with that, the Sparsh Leprosy Awareness Campaign, SLAC. So we previously had the LEX and the block and things like that, block leprosy elimination campaign, black like that, block leprosy awareness campaign, modifiers, many things were there. Now in Kerala, this is called as Sparsh Leprosy Awareness Campaign, SLAC, along with that. And with the onset of COVID, because we cannot go out and then do the detection. Now they have brought in something like ELSA. ELSA, I've heard the first name in that film, Frozen. Must have seen the film. Some of you must have seen Elsa and Anna. So you can remember that. Eradication of leprosy through self-reporting and awareness in the COVID context. So they come by self. You create the awareness, let them report. That is what is the strategy. So along with that, we do have surveys. So I've just put the basis of survey. When you have a prevalence of very less, when the prevalence is very less, you don't need to do a mass survey. What we need to do is only look at those contacts of these patients, because prevalence is less than 1 per 10,000. But when the prevalence is a little higher than 1 or this higher, then we go a little forward. We must do it in groups. Actually, we are doing surveys at that level. We are not doing mass surveys, but maybe like at the time of this campaign time, we are looking at the whole of the state through, or the priority districts. At least we are going to every house. But otherwise, the rest of the year we will be doing only these group surveys. That can be in the form of, most of us are familiar with the skin camps that has been conducted by And then we are medical officers. Also, we do campaigns, the camps in schools, Anganwadi, among migrants. Now, this is also one new thread. We just can't say we have eliminated and just be there, because now this is the whole world is like a global village, and we know that any communicable disease can come at any point of time, and especially Kerala being very very favorite site for favorite state for migrants from the rest of India. That all the screening among migrants, so the survey among migrants is also very important. Then in some like clusters of people like at high risk, vulnerable population, orphanages, jails, tribal areas, slums. All these group surveys are what we conduct in Kerala. So I just put this slide to tell that this is not just what we are telling in theory, but they are doing it actually. The school survey from Palakkad, they have picked 3 cases in 2019 from during the period April-August. Migrant survey, they have picked 6 cases. So in Thrissur also, they have picked 3 cases, but the migrant survey. And then the contact survey, they have picked 7 cases. So see, even we can see this here, the screening of contacts is the most that yields the maximum results, because they are household contacts are said to be 10 times more likely to have the disease than the general population. So, and tribal survey. So this is also an at-risk population. So maybe we have that they got 5 from Wayanad. So which means these things are happening. It's not just that we are telling. Now, regarding Ashwamedham, it's a little bit, that is a leprosy case detection campaign. So campaign means it will be short time, you are with a very high intensity activity. All people will be focused on that activity. But now they have come with this. Okay, along with this active case detection, this is active case detection. We are going out to the field and detecting cases. Now, when we are reaching the stage of elimination, it's the same is happening in tuberculosis. Tuberculosis, we never went to people to find out whether they have. They used to report passively, cough more than 2 weeks, cough more than 3 weeks, they used to come to us. But now, since we are planning on elimination, we have active case detection. Active case detection among vulnerable people, same, almost similar groups we are also doing in tuberculosis. So this active case detection we do in the form of campaigns. But the problem is, once you finish the campaign, then people will sit, they will be just, then the activities may not go properly. So now they have modified the terminology and say that active case detection and regular surveillance. To the rest of the period also, the regular surveillance has to be there. Then before doing this and during, there will be very intensive IEC activities at all levels. So all the media, you will be seeing people showing these messages with relation to the identification of leprosy. Focused training of health personnel. So ASHA workers, they are the key. We have a search team, and that search team will involve one ASHA and one male volunteer, because they are the people who are going to the houses. As we know, an ASHA has a population of thousands, around 250 houses they will have to survey. And to see whether they are doing it right and all, there are supervisors. So those supervisors will have to check 10% of the houses, and there will also be a post this leprosy case detection campaign evaluation. The MO has to certify that, the district leprosy officer has to certify that. Sometimes we also do have independent evaluators, somebody from outside the system looking into it. So which means that the quality is very high. This cross-checking, the supervision and the certification brings in accountability from the side of the medical officers and leprosy officers. So I just put that once again, just to show that when we planned the Ashwamedha first phase, initially only 8 of the districts, I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we look into this, we will see the red 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and this Kasaragod district. These, because the border district, I think that those were the districts which were targeted in the first phase of this. And they got this. This is fruitful also. See, after this first phase in 2018, they got 20 cases of children. Totally, they got 194. That is a good achievement, because we are within a limited period, we are capturing this many cases. So that is the advantage of doing it in a campaign mode. And then again, other districts were included in the next round, the other districts that we saw in yellow, and plus because we included Kasaragod earlier, that is not there. So the 8+6, all the 14 districts have had this Ashwamedham. And for phase 1, now phase 2 is there, phase 3. So again in phase, so around 2 of phase 1 also we got cases, and child cases around 2, I think we didn't get much, probably because the districts that were involved were not districts with high number of cases. But in this, the districts that were involved were those districts where the cases were high. Now, as I said earlier, we in Kerala, because we are talking about Kerala strategies, we did make specifically for leprosy SDG related what should be our goals or what should be our objectives. This is the SDG for the world, that is SDG 3, which says that ensure health lives, and promote well-being of all for all at all stages. അതിന്റെ അകത്ത് ടാർഗറ്റ് 3.3 എന്ന് പറയുന്നതാണ് end of epidemics of AIDS, tuberculosis and NTD, neglected tropical disease in അടിയിലാണ് നമ്മുടെ ഈ leprosy വരുന്നത്. And global elimination of leprosy, that they said under that they have said global elimination of leprosy by 2020, but already that has been achieved. So for Kerala, we have fixed it as a prevalence rate not less than 1 ന് പകരം 0.1 ആക്കണമെന്നും, പിന്നെ ചൈൽഡ് ലെപ്രസി കേസസ് അത് ഞാൻ പ്രൊപ്പോർഷൻ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ അന്ന് നേരത്തെ സ്ലൈഡിൽ I just showed the child cases that we have achieved less than 0.6 per million. Rate of child cases 0 disability. Now we have child case 0 disability, and we need to sustain that. We must notice that I have not shown the child case with the disability to disability anywhere. It's because it's 0, and that we need to sustain. A very good achievement. Grade 2 disformity, that is in the total population, to less than 1 per million. That is the goals. So this slide did not go into detail, but I just put that target year wise actually for the SDG. They had made all these things just to show that. Now a little bit of specific preventive measures that are emerging. It's not actually emerging, but it was there previously also, but now something is coming to the limelight. So this is the I think some of you must be, or most of you is knowing. I don't know whether I should tell this or not. I just quickly go. So this is one vaccine, that is the Mycobacterium indicus prani. പ്രാണി എന്നാണോ പ്രാണി എന്നാണോ പറയുന്നതെന്ന് എനിക്ക് അറിഞ്ഞൂടാ. പ്രാണി എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ ഓർക്കുമായിരിക്കും, അപ്പൊ അതുകൊണ്ട് പ്രാണി എന്ന് പറയാം. അപ്പൊ MIP വാക്സിൻ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞത് ഇവര് നമ്മൾ സാധാരണ വാക്സിൻ പറയുമ്പോഴത്തേക്കും എന്തോ അസുഖം വരാതിരിക്കാൻ വേണ്ടി കൊടുക്കുന്നതാണ്. പക്ഷെ this is now one vaccine which is immunoprophylactic as well as therapeutic. It is if you can give it to those people who have leprosy also, so that the efficacy of treatment along with MDT is higher. That's what they say. It is not only the efficacy is higher, you can achieve the load of that bacteria will be reduced in a shorter period of time, they say. And as early as 1970, the people, the one scientist at Ames, doctor, I forget the name, sir, was working as early as 1970 on this, and it is 36 or more years after that we are now again going back to this. But because I think the large scale RCT involving 25,000 people, that came only late. Earlier the studies were small studies. So it's an autoclave suspension, the spelling is wrong, of a non-pathogenic mycobacteria. The thing is that this mycobacterial leprae, all of us know, we cannot culture it in artificial media. So you cannot get the vaccine out of that. So we are going for other mycobacteria which are non-pathogenic, and this is one which has been used. So what happened in 2017 is that ICMR brought about a project. Actually, after this large scale trial, in the large trial, and that proved to be effective, the DCGI approved this vaccine, and in 4 endemic districts of Gujarat and some parts of Bihar, they have launched it in India. They are using this, and it is being and they are trying to compare it with, like, it's like a pilot project, and they're comparing it with rifampicin. What is the with rifampicin as a chemoprophylactic drug compared to this vaccine, and also vaccine plus the combination of this vaccine, they are looking at it. So you can give it for patients along with the usual drugs as an immunotherapeutic agent, and also you can give it as an immunoprophylactic agent, like the routine vaccines to the family members and contacts of patients, and they have to receive 2 doses of vaccine 6 months intervals. That is the MIP vaccine. It is not there in Kerala. I just inquired, but we don't have the use of this in Kerala. So it is approved by the DCGI after the large clinical trial of 25,000 people who were contacts of leprosy patients. So, but this thing is also being used in tuberculosis, in ulcers intralesionally. They say it's useful in septicemia. You all must be knowing better about why it is useful and all. I'm not an expert in all those things, but it is saying that it can be used as an adjuvant in vaccines to prevent pregnancy. There is some unwanted pregnancy. You have like along with the HCG, you can use it as an adjuvant, and then for treatment of some cancers. Even for COVID, some of them are doing research on this MIP. Now coming to the chemoprophylaxis, the WHO now recommends, actually there is evidence for the effectiveness of single dose rifampicin SDR. See, for the one of the studies quoted is the double-blind collapse study found that SDR is in leprosy contacts is associated with a reduction in risk of leprosy of 57% in 2 years' time. When compared to the placebo, it reduced like 57% over 2 years. And we know that the incubation period of the disease is a little long. So then when it came to 5 to 6 years, that is little less of 30%. Anyway, what they say is for every 1,000 contacts treated with a single dose of rifampicin, there were 4 cases prevented after a period of 1 to 2 years, and 3 cases prevented after 5 to 6 years, which means we are able to prevent leprosy in 2 people, or in a period of 2 to 3, like maybe in a period of 6 years. Anyway, they say that it is effective, and the protective effect of SDR occurred in the first 2 years with no additional benefit after 4 to 6 years. We said after that there is a reduction. But they also say that it is cost effective. See, once any intervention is efficacious, the next step would be to look at whether it is effective. That means whether people will comply, and many other diagnostic relevance and all those things come into the component of effectiveness. And the next stage will be to look into the efficiency, whether it is when the cost effectiveness comes into play, and they say it is both efficacious as well as cost effective. And WHO recommends the use of SDR for whom? For more than 2 years, for contacts who are more than 2 years old. But before you use it, you have to exclude whether they have the real disease, that is leprosy, TB, and whether they have any contraindications. However, we are not using it in our, like in Kerala, Madam said, we are not using this chemoprophylaxis. So this is the dose that needs to be given. I can tell that to you. You all know that. See, this is one point I already said earlier also. It is, see, this is what they say is this leprosy post exposure prophylaxis, that we need to think of whether it can be useful. We need to bring it into the program. So because this is the point, that means that chance of finding previously undiagnosed leprosy is 10 times higher in household contacts of leprosy patients than in the general population. So we focus on them, rule out whether they have active disease, and then give them chemoprophylaxis. Maybe we can prevent a few of those diseases. These are some of the ICMR projects that are related to the NEP. One is again this MIP vaccine, as I said, and this is the this is one leprosy institute and other mycobacterial disease institute that is at Agra. Jamla, many and they have developed and validated this RLEP PCR. Compare means like anonymous to RT-PCR. So this is a molecular method that is coming up for the early detection of leprosy in field conditions. With the onset of COVID, this molecular diagnostics has come so much. Maybe we can use this PCR to a greater extent for the early detection of leprosy. Why? Because I'll show you in the next slide. So this currently being used by the Regional Leprosy Training and Research. This test is available there at this institute, Regional Leprosy Training Research and Training Institute. And this is another thing that is, this is the Nikusht. We must have heard of Nikshay for tuberculosis. Like that, a real-time leprosy monitoring software was developed by ICMR, has been launched successfully for use, and this is being used in Kerala. Now we are using Nikusht for entering all those data related to leprosy, as well as the program planning. All things can be done in this Nikusht. So by this I said about, this is the study which shows that they have taken 73 cases of leprosy, and different types of leprosy. We did not look into all those things, but then they checked, compared the skin smear versus this RLEP PCR positivity. See, among the 73, only 17 have since smear positive for AFB, but this nearly, I think, 3 times higher positivity they have been able to. And PCR, we know you can do it early in the, you can catch the disease early also. Perhaps these are some of the things that we need to look into, and whether we can bring into the program. So what are the challenges? Last, we are dealing challenges and way forward. So we might have eliminated leprosy, but then there we also know of the story in Kerala where we way back in the 60s we had eliminated malaria. But then again, we had malaria coming back, and now with migrants and all those things, although we are trying to eradicate, or we're going to direct by the roots, we do have challenges. Like that, sustaining the elimination status is very important. We cannot be complacent. We need to work all together, especially pediatricians. Also, I know you are all very busy people, but still you are very dedicated people. That's what I understand, that the commitment from all of you is shown by the way all of you participate on a Sunday night, the time that you need to stay with your family. So we understand that, and I know that, and I just need, just telling that and just acknowledging that, and we all need to take it forward. And the diagnostic tools, we need to research and find out newer tools wherein we can find early detection. As we said, the grade 2 disability, that is one indicator where, which has, although the prevalence rate has come down, in between this grade 2 disability has percentage had gone up when you look at the figures. So if we have some tools for detecting the disease early, probably we can prevent this disabilities. Also, detection of the nerve damage. How do we get to find those newer diagnostic modalities to find the nerve damage, because that also will limit the disability. Then community-based rehabilitation. I don't know how effective it is working. Maybe we may not need it for a large population, but still, at least in those areas where these people have already affected by the disease, they have some disability, they have some residual damage already, we need to bring in some components of community-based rehabilitation. Maybe we can also integrate that with the PHC, because we do not need separate mechanisms for that, but then we need to think of it a little further, and this bringing in some effective vaccine for leprosy. So some of the gaps in knowledge, like we know that most people are in at least in this 35 to 70% of infection, they resolve naturally. But why does it occur? I don't know. Maybe some of you know, but what they say is there is a gap in knowledge in that. Then there are no diagnostic tools to find the latent leprosy among the contacts, whether they are infected or not. Because now in TB you do have the mantle, maybe like that is not so good, it's not so in terms of validity, but then we have come up with IGRA and things like that. So do we have some tools can we find out some tools to detect this latent leprosy? Then Mycobacterium leprae is not shown to be conclusively growing in artificial media. So that is a great challenge. That is why we are going in for other organisms. Then newer drugs in the context of resistance, although it is less than the status of TB, still we do have some. So I said that we are not surveying, or we do not have a correct surveillance for resistance. Are we picking up this resistance? All these things are things to be looked into. Then the patient concerns and the reasons for non-compliances. For example, the clofazimine, I think the drug which causes pigmentation. I don't know, am I right? That drug. So why these people are not taking? Why are we getting this relapse? So we may have to go into each case, and every state or district may have a different reason. The people are different, they are culturally different. So we may have to look at the tribal people, especially. We may have to look into each of these cases. And then the evaluation of the program. I don't know to what extent the NLEP has got an inbuilt evaluation component. In for example, we are doing the pulse polio. There are external evaluators coming in for these campaigns to look into how effective it is. I said there's a leprosy campaign mode, they are doing this evaluation, but as a whole, is the program being evaluated to do recheck? It is this that we need to look into. There may be some gaps in reporting. Are we getting the right reports from the private sector? So how to engage stakeholders? There's somebody was telling the dermatologists are the people who are maximum like who are seeing the cases of leprosy. Are they involved in the program? So things like that we need to bridge the gap. So this is in short about the it. I think that I exceeded time by about 10 minutes. Just to before I conclude, I just say one thing. Have you someone seen the film? What is Train to Busan? Nitya കണ്ടിട്ടുണ്ടോ സിനിമ? And ആരെങ്കിലും കണ്ടിട്ടുണ്ടോ? നന്നു കാണണേ. അതിനകത്ത് ശരിക്കും പറഞ്ഞാൽ ഇറ്റ്സ് എ ഫിക്ഷണൽ മൂവി, ബട്ട് ദെൻ പിന്നെ അതിനകത്ത് സോംബി വൈറസ് എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു നമ്മൾ ആൾക്കാരെ കാണും ഇങ്ങനെയൊന്നും ആയിരിക്കത്തില്ല, പക്ഷെ നമുക്ക് യു ക്യാൻ റിലേറ്റ് വെരി മച്ച് ടു ദ സ്റ്റിഗ്മ, ടു ദി തോട്ട്സ് ഓഫ് ദ പീപ്പിൾ വെൻ സം ന്യൂ ഡിസീസ് കംസ് ഇൻ. We can't blame people for the stigma, discrimination and things like that. As medical persons, what we can do is, of course, the awareness part is we keep on doing, but stigma, why do we have stigma? It's because nobody knows about the disease. We don't have a cure for the disease. The spread of the disease is so high. So we know that very much in the context of COVID. So similarly for leprosy also, if we work more on in these lines to bringing in newer diagnostic tools, to bringing in better cure rates, maybe the stigma, and there are no one who has got disability. When you see somebody with disability or disfigurement, that is the one thing which cause like നമ്മുടെ ഒരു അറപ്പ് തോന്നുന്നതൊക്കെ അത് കാരണമൊക്കെയാണ്. അപ്പൊ അതുകൊണ്ട് മെഡിക്കലി നമ്മൾ അഡ്വാൻസ് ചെയ്യുന്തോറും ഓട്ടോമാറ്റിക്കലി സ്റ്റിഗ്മ ഡിസ്ക്രിമിനേഷൻ ഒക്കെ കുറെ കുറയുമായിരിക്കും. അപ്പൊ അതുകൊണ്ട് നമ്മളെ മനുഷ്യരെ awareness ആക്കുന്നതോടുകൂടി നമ്മുടെ തോളിൽ we have a huge responsibility on our shoulders to work further, to find newer methods, to bring in better cure rates, to eliminate or stop these complications and disfigurement. Let them also look very good and appealing. Thank you very much.
Thank you, madam, for that excellent talk to us all. In the chat, there are some questions. One is whether the NCDR in 2019 to 20 is due to the campaign.
Maybe, madam. Can you hear, madam? ആകാം മാഡം, ആയിരിക്കാം, വേണമെങ്കിൽ നമുക്ക് അങ്ങനെ ആയിരിക്കാം. പക്ഷെ എനിക്കത് ഉറപ്പിച്ചൊന്നും പറയാൻ പറ്റത്തില്ല. Because unless we look into how whether it is due to that, we cannot say for sure, madam. Maybe because of that.
And Nisha has asked whether the migrant population is included in the list, but I think you showed that it is included.
Yeah, migrant survey ഉണ്ട് madam, special surveys നടത്തുന്നുണ്ട് migrants-ന്റെ ഇടയിൽ.
I invite our senior IAPians to give their comments. Purushothaman sir, I invite you.
Shall we finish the quiz and then at the end we'll have a discussion, or
okay, okay,
the finalists.
Okay, Nithya, over to you.
1 minute, madam. I am Dr. Murali from Vadagara. I just add a note regarding the photo which Dr. Senior shown at the beginning of this program. And the photo was a legendary photo. It was Parchur Shastri. His name is Parchur Shastri. He's a well-known scholar and a Veda scholar at that time. He was a colleague of Gandhi, and he was arrested with Gandhi during the freedom fight and jailed in Yerwada jail. And he was a he was a leper, and he has a ulcer in his leg, and nobody was ready to nurse him at that time. And Gandhi proclaimed his readiness, and he asked him to post his room, and he nursed Parchur Shastri. And at that time, Gandhi was forced to go for a hunger fast to achieve some extreme necessities in the jail. And after he won the strike, Parsi Shastri was asked to give him the orange juice to break the fast. That is the history related to Gandhiji and Parsi Shastri.
Thank you, sir. It is very heartening to hear that. We go on to Dr. Nitya. We're waiting for the results and the continuation of the quiz.
So after such an informative and elaborate talk, I think we would move on to the next final round of the quiz. And in between, thank you, Murli sir, for the beautiful piece of information. Let me share the screen. Am I audible, ma'am?
You are audible.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. So we'll move on to the final round, which is a jackpot round. For that, regarding the quiz, we had 14 participants. It was an excellent quiz, I should say, because all were very high scoring. And all of them had shown a very really good performance, and it was a close competition. And obviously, any competition there should be toppers. So first 3 of them were chosen, and the first 3 winners are Dr. Savita from Department of Pediatrics, GMC Trivandrum. She scored 22.5 points. Dr. Reshma, again from GMC Trivandrum, 28.5 points, and Dr. Fatima Taslima from Department of Community Medicine, from GMC Thrissur, with 26.5 points. So a big round of applause for all the 3 top scorers, and now they have qualified to the final rounds. Can I get them on the screen? Are all the 3 there on the screen? Dr. Savita,
switch on the video.
Please switch on the video.
Yes.
Do I need to stop sharing to get them on the screen?
No problem, actually. We can see them on the gallery view, no?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Can Dr. Savita speak? Can you say hi to...
Yes, unmute, please. Yeah, you can remain unmuted. Yes.
Okay, so Savita is there, Reshma is there, and Fatima is there.
Yes, 3 are there.
Okay. Ma'am, kando.
You can continue.
Fine.
I will watch them. Yeah. Continue.
So we'll just move on to the quiz. We have a jackpot round, which is a part 2. In this, each team will be given a set of 3 questions. Please listen to the rules. Each team will be given a set of 3 questions. And the first question will be open. Suppose team one is answering the question. The first question will be open to her. And the first question will give her 5 points if she answers it correctly. If she doesn't answer it, or she answered it incorrectly, she'll lose 5 points. So plus 5 for correct answer and minus 5 for wrong answer. If she doesn't want to answer, or if she doesn't want to attempt the question, she can quit. Is it clear? You can view the question. If you don't want to answer, you can quit. So you won't lose any points. Now, the first question, you have answered it correctly and you got 5 points. So you are qualified for the next question. So that is question number 2, where you will be getting 10 points. So that is a bonus. 10 points if you answer it correctly, and minus 10 if you answer it incorrectly. But here, you don't have an option to see the question. I hope you got me. So the second question and third question, you won't be able to see the question before you choose to answer. So depending on the scores in the bag, in your pocket, and the confidence or a bit of luck, you have to go for it, or you have to decide whether you have to go for it or not. Okay, so it's like a do or die situation. And again, the same thing for third question, where if you get it right, you will get 20 points. But if you don't get it right, you will lose 20 points. Okay, are the rules clear? So it's not just knowledge. I think we should have a bit of luck and fun in the quiz. That's why we have made final round like this. So can I move to the? Are the rules clear? Are the
Yes.
can the three teams
Already told no. You can go ahead.
Okay, fine. So we'll just do a quick virtual lots. Can I have Reshma here? Reshma, can you please pick a flower from this? Fast.
Tulip.
Tulip. So Reshma is for tulip. And Fatima?
Rose.
Okay. And Savida, obviously, Jasmine.
Yes, Jasmine. Right. Next.
So these are your question set numbers. So Reshma gets set 3. And Dr. Fatima gets set 2. And Dr. Savida gets set 1. Is that clear? So set 1, Savida will be answering. Set 2, Dr. Fatima will be answering. And set 3, Dr. Reshma will be answering. I hope it's clear. Okay? Okay. So we'll quickly move on to the set 1. Rules are clear aanallo, another confusion illalo. ഇതിനെ വലിയ സീരിയസ് ആയി എടുക്കണ്ട. ജസ്റ്റ് ഫൺ ക്വിസിംഗ് ആണെന്ന് ഞാൻ ഓൾറെഡി പറഞ്ഞിട്ടുണ്ട്. സോ ബിക്കോസ് ലക്ക് ഫാക്ടറും കൂടി വരുന്ന കാരണമാണ്. യു ഹാവ് ഓൾറെഡി പെർഫോംഡ് വെൽ. സോ വിന്നേഴ്സ് ആയി കഴിഞ്ഞു. ഇറ്റ്സ് ജസ്റ്റ് ടു പിക്ക് ദ ഫസ്റ്റ് ഒരാളെ മാത്രം പിക്ക് ചെയ്യാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ടാണ്. ഓക്കെ. സോ വിൽ മൂവ് ഓൺ ടു ഡോക്ടർ സവിത. ആർ യു റെഡി സവിത?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So this is your first question. Identify the type of leprosy. Tell me you want to take the question or not. Do you want to take the question or not?
Yes.
You will go for the question. Is it? Very good. Ale. Okay. Now you can answer. ഒരു 15 seconds ടൈം തരാം. അതിനകത്ത് ആൻസർ പറയണം. അതർവൈസ് ഇറ്റ് വിൽ ഗോ എൻലെസ് ആയിട്ട് പോവും.
Borderline tuberculoid.
Sure ആണോ? So it is BT. That is your answer?
I think so.
Okay. So I'm sorry, it is not BT. It's actually, what type of lesion do you see there?
There is a central clearing with a...
It's not just clearing, it actually appears punched out, isn't it?
Okay.
It's a punched out lesion. So it is characteristic of actually mid-borderline BB leprosy, where we see an annular clear punched out lesion. Okay. So unfortunately, you didn't get the first question, and it's a part of the game. You will lose 5 points. No worries. Very, very happy to see you here, and it was happy quizzing time with you. We'll just move on quickly to the next question and finish off. And the questions are baki indalo. So we'll just finish off. Question 2. Can you try this? Points illa, but just for 3-year-old kid whose father was diagnosed with possible leprosy on MDT. He stays with parents and 2 siblings in the same 2-room thatched house. Immigrants, and all of them are immigrants from Odisha. What is the contact prophylaxis you plan for this child? Savita?
Since he is more than 2 years old, can give 1 dose rifampicin. But
so that is what we wanted. But unfortunately, now the second question you can't give marks for that. So it was single dose rifampicin, as rightly told, and Senior Madam has beautifully described all this. So what dose and how much? Okay, good. So we will move on to the next question for Savita, just for the sake of it. What is this test and what is it used for?
That is to test for the fine touch or vibration. Fine touch. That is I'm not sure of the name. But
okay.
Then,
so in a way, you are right. It actually assesses the sensory function, and it is called Siemens-Winston monofilament test. So it touches at different points and apply gentle pressure for 3 seconds. Okay, good. So good try, Savita. It was indeed a fun quizzing with you. And so we'll move on to the next person. This Fatima. Fatima, ready now?
Okay.
Okay, Fatima has got 26.5 points in your bag. Second set, Anna. So we'll move on to the first question. First question is open to you. Tell me what are the nerves affected in this. You have to tell both the nerves. രണ്ട് nerve പറയണം. എന്നിട്ട് രണ്ട് പടത്തിലെയും രണ്ട് പിക്ചറിലെയും nerve പറയണം. എന്നിട്ട് correct ആയാലേ എനിക്ക് മാർക്ക് തരാൻ പറ്റുള്ളൂ. Okay, do you want to take the question or not?
Yes.
Okay, please go ahead.
First one is ulnar nerve, and second one is posterior tibial.
Oh, wonderful. So 5 points to Fatima. Very good. So very good, Fatima. So it is ulnar nerve, it's the most common one affected, and posterior tibial nerve. Question 2. You would like to go to question 2? If you go to question 2 and answer it correctly, you'll get 10 points. If you don't get it, you will get -10. Okay, we'll go. Good. So I'll show you the question.
Okay.
Good. What is the web-based reporting system for leprosy called?
Nikusht.
Wonderful. So you get 10 points. Another 15 points in Fatima's bag. And then, so Nikusht, about Nikusht, madam has already explained. So question 3. Ready, Anna? You should go. You want to go for a +20 or a -20? Fatima?
I will quit.
You want to quit?
Yeah.
Anna?
Yes.
Okay, final decision is to quit. Very good. So that's also a part of good quizzing. Very good. So I'll just open the question to you. Okay. Ulcerative form of leprosy seen in the tuberculoid end in undernourished people or those with PEM is called what? You know what is it called?
No.
Okay, good. So it was a good decision, I should say. Okay. So anybody, audience, can anybody answer the question? What is the ulcerative form of leprosy seen in the tuberculoid end with undernutrition? So usually it's not common. Ulcerative form is not common in the tuberculoid part. So with an underlying PEM. Anybody, ma'am? Anyone has answered? Illa. So I think I'll go ahead with the answer. So it is called it's called Lazarin leprosy. Okay, it's called Lazarin leprosy. It's mainly because of the breakdown, local poor immunity and increased proliferation of bacilli with severe tissue edema causing ulcerative.
Monica answers Lazarin.
Oh, very good. Even Monica has scored good marks. She lost maybe it was a close competition, I should say. And for other situations where we find ulcerative lesions are, as we know, Lucio phenomenon in lepromatous leprosy and erythema nodosum necroticans. Okay, so we will move on to the so that finishes the set of questions to Fatima. Good quizzing. So Reshma, are you ready? Reshma? Reshma, clear ആയിട്ട് പറയണേ, കേൾക്കുന്നില്ല, clear ആയിട്ട് പറഞ്ഞോളൂ. Okay, so Reshma has got 28.5 points in your bag. Let's go to the first question. First question is open to you. Identify this treatment pack. You want to take the question?
Yes.
Obviously, yes. Okay, so you can tell me. So what exactly? I hope you are familiar with the 4 packs. So you can say what type of MDT pack is it?
The Posibacillary.
Is answer complete?
For the pediatric Posibacillary.
Okay, so is that your final answer?
Yes.
Okay, so you think it is pediatric Posibacillary, am I right? Okay, but unfortunately it is not. So why do you think it's Posibacillary? How many drugs are there in on the first day?
Rifampicin and Dapsone.
So that three are there. So what could it be? Could be a multibacillary. Yes. And why pediatric? Because we get the other one on alternate days only, is it? So this is multibacillary, pediatric. This is multibacillary adult. This is paucibacillary pediatric, and this is paucibacillary adult. Is that clear?
Nice.
So unfortunately, you lose 5 points there. Don't worry, that's also a part of quizzing. Very good. You have, in fact, Reshma has scored the maximum marks in the first round. Don't worry, you have done a very good show. And so we'll just quickly finish the other 2 questions also. What is MCR for treatment of patients with leprosy? Any idea?
Microcellular rubber chapels.
Oh, it was an easy one for you. I know that. So it is MCR. It's a foam kind of chapels where it can be used in patients with neuropathic feet or anesthetic feet. Okay. The question 3. A 6-year-old girl diagnosed to have paucibacillary leprosy. Her father also on MDT. On treatment, but both with poor compliance. Okay, she was brought to emergency with lethargy 2 days, shortness of breath, and bluish discoloration of oral mucosa. Oxygen saturation was 85% on 2 liters oxygen. An ABG was done, and PO2 was 94. Carbon dioxide PCO2 was 31, pH was 7.48, and bicarb was 24.5. What is the treatment you give? This is something which we see quite often.
Is it DDS syndrome?
Oh.
Drug hypersensitivity?
Not really. What exactly the child has? Her oxygen saturation. Did you look at the ABG? What is the ARDS? ABG PO2 94 so you think it's ARDS? So what it could be?
Oh, methemoglobin.
Yeah, there you are. So it is methemoglobinemia. And why methemoglobinemia in this child?
Side effect of DAP.
Wonderful. So it's DAPsone-induced methemoglobinemia. And what is the treatment?
Stop dapsone, then amyl nitrate.
Okay. And methylene blue problem. IV methylene because in acute, aqueous. Okay. So that finishes the final round. In fact, first probably scored more points as in any other jackpot round. So don't worry, all 3 of you have really done a good job. And by the time we calculate the score, we'll have an audience question. Identify this character. So everybody is familiar with the character who is there in our today's flyer, NLEPIDA mascot, Sapna. So who is this?
Can I say? No.
Arayilunda my answer.
Everybody's written Sapna.
Sapna alla.
Any other better name? Oh, not a better name. Any other name? Village girl, Reshma Vishalamaglu. Seven name na. No, nobody's answering. You can go to answer.
So this is Meena. Meena is actually the symbol of UNICEF. UNICEF mascot. She was the one taken by UNICEF for on gender rights, child rights, and education. And the Sapneda concept was actually taken from Meena. So Sapna is our NLEP mascot, as we know. It was taken from Meena. So thank you all for giving us your valuable time. And the final score I'll just announce. We have Dr. Savita H from GMC Trivandrum at 3rd place with 17.5 points. Dr. Reshma Raj with 23.5 points at the 2nd place. And the winner of today's quizzes, Dr. Fatima Taslima with 41.5 points. It was great quizzing. Thank you.
Institution, Fatima?
Oh, okay. Fatima is from GMC, Medicine, GMC Thrissur. Dr. Savita and Dr. Reshma from
Rajni is here.
They were one of the first participants to register also.
Yeah, Rajni is here. Can she have a word now? I thought I saw her.
Yeah, I'm there. Good evening.
Yeah, please. What is your?
So I'm so glad my PG made it.
Congrats. Yeah.
Congrats, Fatima.
Thank you, madam.
Yeah, thanks for keeping the department name still flying high. Okay, so it was actually it was nice to see all the participants so very eager to answer, and Fatima, you had a lot of luck also along with you, so that is also helping you here. Anyway, thanks to the organizers also for conducting this very beautifully, and Dr. Nisha and Dr. Nitya did real great on the quiz. So thanks to IAP, all the organizers, the president.
Nitya did everything at all.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And then actually it was the flyer you forwarded to me that prompted me to announce in the department. Yeah. So thank you so much. So thanks for the very good organization. I really enjoyed every bit of it, including Sinia's talk. That was also excellent. So hats off to IAP Thrissur.
Thank you, Rajni.
Thank you.
ma'am.
So much.
Thank you,
Congrats again.
Thank you, Dr. Rajni. So your announcement in the department has brought glory in your department with the award. And we from IAP Thrissur announce a cash prize of rupees 500 to the winner of today's quiz program. Congratulations, Fatima. And very well done, Reshma, Savita, and to all those who participated in the quiz. Dr. Zenia, any comments to the participants?
Winning is just it's all about participating. So all of you, all three of you, and all the participants are the winners of the day. But a special congrats, as Rajini said, Fatima is the heroine of the day. So it's not about the amount, but about being the winner and the joy of winning. All the best to you. May you perform well in all your endeavors. And I think Savita, Reshma, I think they are students, undergraduates from Trivandrum. I don't know whether they have taught them. So I'm familiar, I think. At least I think Reshma. So glad to see you all. And you are all the future. Okay, so do well in all your endeavors. Thank you, and beautifully done quiz. Actually, online quiz, I don't know I've seen any other quiz which has been conducted so organized and well without any flaws. And very good questions also. Hats off to the organizers. Nisha and Nitya, you are really good. Actually, you present very well.
Thank you, ma'am.
So along with the winners, Nitya, special congratulations to you. At this juncture, I forgot to welcome and thank Dr. Rajni Jose for joining in, Dr. Dayanandan, V.K. Parvati Madam. I would like to have a word from Parvati Madam.
Hello, can you hear me?
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Sinia, it was a wonderful, excellent talk, very informative. I don't know whether you can, we are following all these things. And regarding the stigma, I still remember one case where one person was given Dapsone for some illness other than leprosy, Hansen's disease. So this fellow went to the medical shop to get it. And somebody, the person there told that it is for leprosy. So this person went and committed suicide by running in front of a train. So sad. So that is the stigma we had earlier. But now I think the stigma is much less. And we had a few cases in our place also, older people. I just want to ask you one question. That is the rate, child rate per 1 lakh. Is it per 1 lakh? It is per children, no? It's not the total population. Is it?
I saw your question on the chat box, madam. Thank you, madam, for the compliment. And I actually verified once again. If you want, I'll share you the documents. This is the document of the memo training manual. And that if I can share, I'll just put it on the screen also, or otherwise I'll share to you personally also. I'll give it to Nisha. Through Nisha, I'll give it to to all of you. I think two documents are very useful documents, madam. I will send it to you, madam. It says it is per population only, not child number of children. And then regarding the sharing of this stigma, actually, I really appreciate you for sharing it, madam, because we don't have so much of experience with leprosy. And that's why I said in the beginning, all
in
the elder faculty
dermatology,
here.
dermatology, Dapsone is given for so many other illnesses. So it's always a problem. Okay, thank you, madam.
That's what the WHO document. One thing I want to say is that when we said about the chemoprophylaxis, they have specifically said that if the patient does not consent to reveal the status, even the contacts, you cannot tell them. So you cannot screen them and give them chemoprophylaxis. So that is the way we should go forward with it, because we don't want
And
anything
so
like
many
this to
problem
happen.
with marriage, counsel, all those problems. So many of them won't get married. Even contacts, neighbors, all those. Congratulations, Nitya and Nisha, and very good organized program. Organized quiz. Thank you. Thank you very much. Good night.
Purushottam sir, any questions?
A few comments. If Dr. Jayaraman is here, I would have a word for the IAP, because looking at the graphs by senior, did you notice the pattern of involvement? In the first Ashwamedham also, the 8 districts were all in the north to Ernakulam. And even now it is like that. And you see the Palakkad is having the maximum cases. At the same time, 0 cases in the pediatric age group. It's a very important thing, because I was discussing with the leprosy officer district in the Thrissur, because I was much interested in the public health aspect of it, because very interestingly, I was observing studying the graphs from this epidemiological point of view, public health point of view. The corona period, what is happening to the leprosy? The program part was excellent going on, the medicine distribution, everything, but the new cases were all very low. So if you check the graph of senior, it's not improvement. The 2021, the data, if you take it as an improvement, it will be misleading. All these numbers in 2021 compared to, yes, might be one of the question by Dr. Jayaraman. Is it the result of Ashwamedham? Of course, from the first 2 numbers, some by 8.5 to 7.7, that much of decrease in the next year may be attributable to the Ashwamedham. It cannot drastically come down to the level of the 2021. 20 and 21, it's almost more than half decline. It's all due to the lack of new cases reported. So that is how it has occurred. The COVID has resulted that way, the reporting part. Then what is the importance of this for the IAP? The number of cases in Palakkad is that much, and 0 cases in pediatrics. And all these months, 11 months, these kids were together with the house. That's very important thing. All the kids are within the house, and all of us know the chance of infection increases with the longer the duration, unlike here tuberculosis or other. This is more important because it takes more time, and this is the thing happening during the COVID period of the last 11 months. And maybe in the next year, 2021, what's going to happen is the grassroots workers in the implementation of program will be all diverted to the COVID related vaccination part, all the long COVID syndrome, all the development assessment, everything. But we may be celebrating these days, and after that, it will again go to the neglected tropical disease again. And leprosy, what's going to happen in the next 2021, again will be underreporting, and the more number of the proportionate pediatric cases is going to increase.
So that is why we made the ELSA video now, awareness video now. So we'll probably give importance to that aspect. ELSA,
that is important because that is a role of, that's what I'm going to come, because the program was being conducted by the dermatology part and the other programs, but here they'll be more and more involved in the COVID related thing. So that's the role of the pediatricians. We pediatricians are not much involved in the COVID part at present because children's affected are less and very minute number of complicated COVID situations. So we may have more time to this thing. So we should be creating awareness about the detection of the sort of cases in the coming year. That's a most important relevant point I would like to point out. Then about the experiences, the newer generation of kids, PGs are not having experience with the leprosy related thing. We are not seeing. And even the pediatricians, previous generation we have seen, it's now totally dermatologist area. We are not getting the dapsone poisoning. It's not dapsone adverse effect. It's dapsone poisoning. And one more entity we had is the dapsone syndrome. It's another totally interesting thing. It's present like IMN-like situation, jaundice, lymph node. It may be confusing. All these, there were we pediatricians were facing, but nowadays none of these things we are seeing. So there is a need for us to post the postgraduates in the dermatology throughout all the medical colleges. We should remember that that's also part of, because there should be a crossing over of the postings, and the integration is so important for this thing. So thank you. Congratulations for Nisha and Nitya for the wonderful case, and the seniors for informative talk. So I just forgot. As usual, it's wonderful. There is no need to talk it again. Okay, thank you.
നന്ദിയുണ്ട് സാറേ. സാറ് പറഞ്ഞത് വളരെ ശരിയാണ്. എനിക്ക് തോന്നുന്നത് കോവിഡ് സിറ്റുവേഷൻ കാരണം ഒരു ഡിഫറൻസ് വന്നിട്ടുണ്ട് എന്നുള്ളത് ഒരു സംശയമുണ്ട് സാറേ. അതുപോലെ സാർ ഇങ്ങനെ IAP അങ്ങനെ ചെയ്യാം എന്നുള്ള പറയുന്നത് വലിയ ഒരു കാര്യമാണ്. നിങ്ങൾ ബിസി അല്ല എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് എനിക്ക് തോന്നുന്നു ശരിയല്ല. പക്ഷെ ഈവൻ ഇൻ സ്പൈറ്റ് ഓഫ് ദാറ്റ് യു ആർ വോളണ്ടിയറിംഗ് ടു ഡു സം ആക്ടിവിറ്റീസ്, ദാറ്റ് ഈസ് എ ഗ്രേറ്റ് തിങ്. And sharing of your experience, actually we have not seen all the steps on related problems. That's why that's also very nice. Thank you very much, sir.
Senior, usually the pediatricians are always with the community medicine people. We are always interested in public health cases.
മാത്രമല്ല മാഡം, IAP പോലൊരു ഇത്ര ഓർഗനൈസ്ഡും ഇത്രയും അക്കാഡമിക്കലി ഇതായിട്ടുള്ള മറ്റൊരു അസോസിയേഷൻ ഞാൻ കണ്ടിട്ടില്ല. എനി സ്പെഷ്യാലിറ്റി ലൈക്ക് നമ്മുടെ അസോസിയേഷൻ ഒന്നും അത്ര ആക്റ്റീവ് അല്ല. പക്ഷെ IAP മീൻസ് എവറി ടൈം ആക്ടിവിറ്റി. ഞങ്ങളുടെ ഗ്രൂപ്പിൽ തന്നെ അറിയാം, ഓൾമോസ്റ്റ് എവറി ഡേ വി ആർ സീയിങ് IAP റിലേറ്റഡ് ആക്ടിവിറ്റീസ്. ഐ ഡോണ്ട് നോ ഹൗ യു ഫൈൻഡ് സോ മച്ച് ഓഫ് ടൈം. ദാറ്റ് ഈസ് റിയലി വണ്ടർഫുൾ മാഡം.
Thank you. Any more comments from participants? Srijit, then shall we go on to the vote of thanks?
Okay, thank you, madam. So it was a long day. So it was a long Sunday evening, but it was a very useful and very energetic one. So I will. We started with a 50 odd participants. Now it is 17. So I will be very short. So I will thank the main speakers who make it happen today, like our senior madam and Dr. Nitya Shah, and also the real man behind the scenes, Dr. Nisha Narendran madam, for organizing all these activities for IAP Thrissur. I thank Nisha madam and Nitya madam and senior madam for all these things. And I also thank all the delegates who have joined us, all the senior faculties, Parvati madam and Sandosh sir from Trivandrum, and Shrija Sumanan madam, and from the community medicine, Ranjini Jose madam, and all the other faculties joined. And also congratulate all the winners and all the participants of the quiz and the winners, Dr. Fatima, and all the senior office bearers of IAP Thrissur as well as IAP Kerala, Dr. Jayaraman sir, Johnny sir, and Anandakrishnan sir. And thank you all for once again for joining us today. And within 2 days, we are coming in with another CME on Tuesday, the first Tuesday on 8 p.m. with a CME on rheumatology. So do join us on 8 p.m. on Tuesday. So thank you for joining. Wonderful. Good night. Jai Hind and Jai IAP. Thank you.
Thank you. Good night, Senior.